Hello YouTube world, Todd here from Great Escape Farms. Today I'm making some kombucha, and that is going to consist of tea, sugar, I have 2 quarts of water here that's coming up to a boil, and Scoby. And Scoby is an acronym which includes yeast, bacteria, and I forget exactly what the rest of it is. I'll look that up and include it later on in this video. So the process that I'm doing right now is bring, let's see, 3.5 quarts of water up to a boil, mix in 1 cup of sugar and dilute that, turn the heat off at that point, put 8 tea bags into steep and let it sit and cool down, and then remove the tea bags. At that point you have just the liquid solution. You add the Scoby and you add some existing kombucha to get it kick started so you don't get bacteria in there. I do not have the existing kombucha, so if I cannot find any, I'm getting ready to go to the store. If I cannot find any, then what I'll have to do is consider this a waste batch and just make it so it becomes kombucha, and as long as it not tastes good, but as long as I don't get any discoloration or weird stuff in it, then I will use that as kind of my starter. And from that point on, I'll use that as a starter. So you have to have a starter just to keep the initial, any other bad bacteria or anything like that out. So let me get this up to a boil, get everything cooked up, and then I'm headed to the store to find bottles for it to ferment and see if I can find some starter kombucha. Okay, I am back from my Walmart trip. I did find some kombucha there, so that is right here. That little jar costs $3.47, and it's 16 ounces. That's enough to inoculate 1 batch. So I only need to inoculate the first batch with store-bought. After that, I can use a previous batch of my own to inoculate. They call it starter tea, and what that is it gives a little bit of acid and a little bit of the bacteria and stuff to kickstart it, along with the mother to prevent any other bad bacteria or anything else from getting into it. I also picked up another funnel. This is a canning funnel. I have one of those upstairs in my canning supplies, but this one I'll use with the kombucha making process. It was $1.47. And then I picked up some more black tea. The only type of black tea I had was flavored type of black tea. So this one will give me a good black tea to go with. This is what I'm going to do the fermenting process with. So these are half-gallon jugs. Would have liked gallon jugs, but they didn't have any. So I will do, the batch I'm making will make a gallon, so I'll have to use 2 half-gallon jugs. What I'm going to do is take an old white t-shirt, because you want air to get in here. So I'm going to remove the lid. I'll keep the ring. Take an old white t-shirt, cut it up into pieces, and lay it across the top here. And then probably I'm going to try and put the ring back on and see if the ring will hold the t-shirt on. The reason for the t-shirt is to keep any bugs, fruit flies, or anything else from actually getting into the kombucha. So you need air, but you don't want bugs and other crap from getting in there. So that's it for now. Real quick, I went ahead and I went ahead and I brewed the tea, so it is out in the garage right now. It's cool outside, so I'm trying to cool it off. Once that happens, I will mix it with this kombucha right here, and then I'll go ahead and bottle it up and let it sit for 1 week. So I'll give you an update once I have this stuff bottled. Okay, since the last segment I've been busy here. So I took this kombucha out and let it sit at room temperature. I poured off about 2 ounces at 16.2 ounces. I want 2 cups, which is 16 ounces. So that might be a little bit more, but I just want to get a taste of commercial kombucha and see what it tastes like. I also hand washed my new jars here, and the rims, or what do they call these? Rims? I can't remember what they call them. And the funnel here. I also grabbed a clean white t-shirt and cut it up into pieces. And as I was hoping, the ring will hold that on. So that'll keep fruit flies and stuff like that out. So that's how I will cover it up. And I just pulled the tea bags out of this. This batch is cool now and ready to go. And I heated up another batch. I don't know if you see the steam on that one. So that one's going to take a couple hours to cool down. And I have, or what I'm going to do now is to pour the kombucha in. I will stir it up. Well, I got some sediment at the bottom there, so what I'm going to do is, and that's not sediment, that would be mother and stuff like that. So I'm going to pour a little bit in here, shake it up a little, add that in just to make sure I get everything in here. Then I will go ahead and use the funnel, bottle it in the half gallons, and let me reach over here. And then I will add the Scoby or the mother on top of each. And I have enough here to make 4 half-gallon jars or 2 full-on batches. So that's what. Okay, so I have it in, it's all leveled out, and I'm gonna grab the Scoby and add it. And put that one in there. Come over here, grab this one, put it in there. And then I have, looks like I only, yeah, I do have 2 left in here, so that will be used for the other batch a little bit later on. At this point, just use this one. I will go ahead and put that on. That one is sealed. Put this one on. And work with me here now. That one is sealed. And what I'll do is I'll take a Sharpie and just write on the glass. It'll be easy enough to clean off the glass and just write the flavor of the coffee and date and some other pertinent information. And then what I want to do is take these and store them off in a dark area for 1 week. And a couple days beforehand, maybe 5-6 days beforehand, just keep an eye on it. Maybe do a couple little taste tests, make sure it doesn't get too acid for me, and because this is something that you kind of make to taste. And after I get a couple of these batches under my belt, then I'll know exactly how long to go with it. But this being my first batch here, I'll go ahead and try, probably starting at 5 days, just give a little taste, make sure it's not too acidy, and go from there. So let's see, I guess I will probably take some pictures and some other things, and maybe a couple of videos as this goes on, until I actually do the second fermentation process in a week. So I will be back sometime within the next week with you. Okay, we are not 29 days, we are 16 days later. So they generally say to go 7 to 10 days on this. I've seen some say go up to 14, but my Scoby was very, very small and weak starting out here, so it took a little bit longer, and I was in a cooler environment. It was probably day 6 or 7 before I actually put it on a little heat. So let me see if I can show this to you here without doing too much. But you can see there's Scoby all the way across the top here. So what I'm going to do is I have to reach in and grab this. What I want to do is put it in here, and this will go for our next batch. And actually it's separated from the original Scoby here. This was the original, and I'm going to get some juice in here. I want about a cup or so of juice for the next batch. So we'll do that with this one, and you want the cup or so for the next batch to come off the top. You don't want it from the bottom. Reason being is yeast congregates at the bottom, and you don't want it to be too intensive in yeast, or you'll end up with mainly yeast in your next batch. So you want the starter liquid from the top here. So grab 2 more out of here. I did taste it. It is a little bit on the vinegary side, but I'm okay with that. We'll figure out how to deal with the taste and all later on. Right now, the main thing is just to figure out the process. So I'll set this aside. This will be for the next batch. You can almost see it right here. What I did is I have a half a gallon of water with 8 tea bags in it. So that is cooling down right now, and then I'll pull the tea out from that, and this will go in there. I'll add a little bit more water, and those will go in these bottles. So I will immediately start another batch as soon as this batch is done here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flavor these with ginger. And what I'm going to do is actually grate up some ginger, or maybe crush it. Have to figure out how to deal with that yet. And then I'll put the ginger in the bottom of each bottle, and then I have some funnels, and I'll pour this into the funnel, and we'll set it aside for a little while. So let me get set up with the ginger, do some grating on that, and then I'll join you back once I'm putting the ginger in the bottles and pouring this into the bottles.